Hey, what's up, La Familia? You crazy football-loving nutters. This is Ray Hudson, and you are luxuriating in listening to the Inter Miami podcast with the stupefyingly magnificent Jay and Alex. Two lads who are as electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub. Stay tuned, because you know what it's going to be. It's going to be magisterial with an amplifier.
The cross Campana! He's done it again! Taylor squares it for Victor Ulloa. It's one up. Ulloa and Taylor! Job done for Inter Miami! Landed in by Morte. What? 6! It's 2 for Miami! Damian Lowell doubles the lead! Some days you can just sense something wicked this way it comes.
We get to record a happy episode again.
I know, right?
It's
I know. Hey. Does Quinn have any Inter Miami cards?
No.
Okay, I have a bunch of extras. I wasn't able to get him a shirt in time, so I'm going to bring him a bunch of extras that I have, that Riley already has, I already have. So I'll bring a bunch down.
Thanks for developing my son's addiction, which will only affect my wallet. You're just lovely, buddy. It's like when you buy your friend's like has a son and you buy him like a drum set. And you just smile at the dad, like knowing you're just causing so much hatred for just loud banging noises. And so great. So Quinn can develop a nice little sports card addiction, man. And I'm sure my wallet will love it.
If it makes you feel any better, Inter Miami has dog shit for anything. I opened one box and had the entire Inter Miami collection in one shot. They had Indy, Jean Mota, and Gonzalo this year. And then in the Renaissance package, which was like the player patch and all that shit, all they have was Indy. So we don't actually have a representative from our team. Yeah, unless you count Joseph, but his is all Atlanta shit.
Yeah.
So
Classic. Gotta love it. Well, I'll thank you when it's a year's time from now and I'm $2,000 down the drain because Quinn wants to pull sports cards. But welcome, everyone, to the Inter Miami podcast. I am Jay Kington, along with Ann Harrington, who might have been cussing a little more than usual because I didn't know I was recording right now, but I felt that was a pretty fun intro, so why not, man? Why not? Here we are, baby. How you doing? How goes it? How do you feel getting on the mic with 2 wins? I know people are going to say 1 win and 1 draw. Shut up, nerd. How you feeling coming back? 2 wins down. Is it done? Or is the slump over? Are we making the run back to the top?
listen, I've said this countless times. If you've been a fan of this team since its inception, you know to be a cautious optimist. We kind of got our ass handed to us at the beginning of the season for being way too optimistic. So I'm trying to take it in stride here.
We bought in, man. We bought in.
Yeah, we bought in.
We trusted the process.
I feel like we were just done by Jordan Belfort, and we got sold those penny stocks and we were going to make a shit ton of money, and then we just didn't make anything at all. And it's like, all right.
We came in GameStop like at the top, you know.
Yeah.
Just bought in and just got floored.
Diamond hands at the wrong time.
Exactly.
But I like being wrong. I hate to say it. I like being wrong. I was pretty negative on the boys coming into that Columbus match, and I was actually really negative coming into that Miami Open Cup match. So, hey, I'll take it. It was fantastic. It was a great game for the most part. I thought once Cucho hit that nasty curler past Drake, I thought it was going to be game on. And yeah,
we gotta go one game at a time. But
I know
everyone, I think, in the Discord was predicting a loss for the Columbus game. But before we get there, let's start with where the vibes all turned around at the Miami FC third round of the Lamar Hunt Open Cup. And let me tell you, man, I'm so happy I live pretty close to Brightline, and they're putting a new Brightline station in really close to me because Yeah, it took me like 2 hours to get down there and probably an hour and a half to get back due to lane closures on the way back. But just standard South Florida traffic. I thought it was going to get better once all the Canadians and all the people from Michigan go home. You know, we got to make a law, man. If you don't live here, you shouldn't be able to stay here for more than a month at a time, honestly. They flood the roads, and it's miserable. It took me so long to get down there. Ended up, you know, doing some team building activities with some of the supporters outside. Started strolling into the stadium a little late. We're like, you know what? We suck. No rush to get in there. Let's just enjoy it. Let's wrap up this tailgate. So we go in there, probably get in there like, I don't know, in like the third minute. Didn't even take till the third minute, honestly. We're going in there, man, and the stadium just erupts. I'm like, damn, like, yeah, we're already getting after it. No. Then the announcer comes on and it's a Miami FC going. I'm like, damn, we got scored on.
At that moment was hysterical.
What did I say?
I hadn't turned the game on yet. And there was something along the lines of, well, I'm glad I didn't make it inside because I guess we suck again.
Yeah, dude. Like 2 minutes in, just getting slotted by a USL team. It's lovely. So, you know, go in there and man, I'll tell you what. I was fully ready to lose that game. Like, I thought it was a real possibility we lose that game, given the way we'd been playing. And I think it was probably one of the more predicted cup sets, if you will. And, you know, it was a pretty ugly game. Like, I think most people in there were just having a good time, like, knew what it was. There's probably a little more, you know, concession purchasing than normal for a lot of people, just trying to be there to support the team, but knowing what you're getting yourself into. And, I mean, it looked like we were losing this game. And we tried. Like, we gave a lot of valiant efforts, right? 75% possession, 19 shots, 7 on target. Miami FC only had 5 shots with 3 on target, but it doesn't matter. It was literally not until the 89th minute when that boy, Schneider Borgelin, such a stud, dude. I'm just so happy when we get like I love big strikers, right? I love the number 9, the target man, can play with his back to goal, and I just think Schneider's floor is so high and his ceiling is so high. Anyway, he ends up leveling this thing out at the 89th minute, and I'm like, oh damn, like, all right, cool, whatever. Like, here we are. We'll take it to OT. Hopefully, you know, USL team would get worn out with 120 minutes of play. That doesn't happen to be the case. A really, really bad error from Yedlin. An own goal from Yedlin, right? Comes back. Drake could easily stop this shot. It wasn't like there was a ton of pace on it, and then he just nicks it with his foot right around Drake. And I just, like, you could just feel like everyone's soul being sucked out. Like, all right, this is classic Inter Miami stuff right here. 116th minute, that own goal happens, right? We go through the whole first half of added time, or extra time, rather. And mind you, I mean, again, like, it's 90 minutes of soccer and everyone's there really having a good time, making sure the concession people are getting their money's worth. Then you add another 30 minutes onto that, and it's just people are in really, really good spirits, if you know what I mean. We thought that game was over, man. And then our boy, one of the most beloved people, at least in terms of the Discord and people we know, Ryan Saylor with the magnificent hair, you know, comes in, was at 118th minute, man, equalizes it out. And it's like, oh, here we go to penalties, man. But then I have these flashbacks. I'm like, damn, we suck at penalties, right? Like, that Orlando Open Cup game just comes right back to me. And so, hey, let's draw this game out even longer. What's better than 2 hours of footy? Let's go ahead and make it 2.5 hours of footy. Well, I'm sure Chloe's like, where the hell is Jay? This baby's crying. Get home. And we're over here just having a blast. We go to penalties. You know the rest of the story, man. You know the rest of the story. Turned it all around. But were you, obviously you're happy with it, but what were your thoughts on the match as a whole, on the performance as a whole?
I'm happy with the result, but I wasn't happy with the play on the field. For the roster that we started with, it definitely should have been a better match overall for us. We took Miami for granted at the beginning, kind of maybe dismissed them a little bit, especially with the roster that we trotted out. And we got smoked for it, rightfully so, as you already said. Um, it was one of those ones where it seemed like another mismanaged game. There was poor substitutions. There was questionable tactical changes, and it just felt like we were destined to lose that game. It really did. Let's be honest. We got lucky that Ryan was able to dunk one in. All right. Beautiful. Shout out to Franco Negri with that peach of an assist on that. And honestly, if it wouldn't been for the Columbus result, I'm still leaning towards him being out, but I would have thought that would have had to have been an almost immediate. Like, you can't just fumble the bag against a USL side like that and just sneak out a win. So, all in all, though, I mean, I'm happy how the penalty shootout went out, obviously, with former Syracuse Orangeman Kamal Miller bagging that game-winning PK and sending us into that good night with the win.
Are we sure it wasn't Schneider?
I'm looking at it because
just kidding.
Yeah, I know. You totally missed the Victor substitution for Schneider at the 99th minute.
Like I said, man, 2.5 hours of making sure concessions people are making money for the club.
Yeah, shout out to you not being able to post on social media again.
It's like anytime I try, I just fail so miserably.
It's okay. I got you. But the big thing that stuck out to me from this match, okay, and it's one that I've talked about quite a few times. I know you're probably tired of me talking about it, is our inability to do anything decent on set pieces or corners. We had 14 corners to their 1. We should have got more shots on target, or at least better opportunities than what we got out of that. If I see another playground Jean Mota can't beat the first damn defender in the box corner again, I'm probably going to start ripping out my beard because I don't have any hair on the top of my head. It's just one of those things that we need to get better at. I don't understand the disconnect between the players. I mean, obviously you see they're practicing this stuff because they just don't come up with those routines on the spot.
Yeah.
I also would not hate if we just did a generic corner kick. Stop trying to pass it all the way outside the box and flip it back to Drake and then have Drake boot it all the way down the field. It didn't actually happen, but you know what I'm saying. It's one of those things that we just need to get better at the basics.
It's like over intricacy just kind of kills it, right? And just get back to the fundamentals.
You are not primo Brazil. This is not primo Brazil. You cannot pull off the fancy flicks and the flair. We can barely win a game. Let's just focus on getting the basics down and win the game the right way. But all in all, like you touched on, it was great to go into the night, 2 hours of footy. I actually delayed my pre-shift at work because I was still watching the game in my car, and I told them they just needed to wait.
A little longer.
Just a little bit longer. No big deal.
So let's get into this lineup, right? Obviously, cup game. What's very common in cup games is some of the younger guys, the non-starters, get to go. So, Schneider gets to start up top. Kermashi gets to start as a 10. Harvey Neville came in replacing Negri on the left wing. And, I mean, I'm actually kind of high on Harvey. Obviously, I think he's better on the right side, but Yedlin's certainly had his moments. But Sailor gets to start. McVeigh, it's kind of been a little on the fringe lately, but I think it's important, right? If you're playing that bad, and things we know is our academy is probably top 5 in the league, right? Get a lot of talent coming out of our academy, and we know it's going to be a few more years until that really starts to bleed over. But why not give these young guys a chance to get comfortable, get the ball out on their feet, get some game time action? I think it was a good way. Ugly game, very hard fought. Positive I do want to take away is that the team did fight right? It might not have been pretty, but they didn't give up. They kept going, went down really early, took to the end of the game, into regulation time to climb back in it, go down towards the end of extra time, climb back in it, go to penalties, drilled all the penalties. It was good. It was good. Shout out to Kamal Miller. I think it was a very good showing by him. I mean, you're going 2 hours straight and then coming in and capping off with the final penalty and getting the win. And ugly game. Stats aren't, great, not super efficient, but hey, we got the win. And again, there's people out there, oh, technically it's not a win. Like, I don't care. We advance. I'm going to count it as a win. You can sue me if you don't agree with that, whatever. It was needed, right? And something had to give. If we lose this game, I think the impact of that is pretty substantial moving forward into continuing the MLS season. And whatever, we'll take it for what it is. So hard fought win, ugly win. We're going to be taking on Charleston Battery, and that is next week, 9th or the 10th. I'll have to see if they released. Pardon me, I did not follow that. If they released what day it's going to be, we'll find that out while we talk. Anyway, so moving on, then we go back into the MLS, right? Not a ton of rest time, few days, and you got to go against Columbus, who has some pretty formidable players, to say the least, right? Some people I really like Zelli. I think everyone really likes Zelli, but also Cucho. Dangerous team. And then we get into the formation we rolled out against Miami FC. Wasn't that far off from what we rolled out. Schneider didn't start, but Kermashi getting the start in the 10. A lot of people have been really high on Kermashi. A lot of people think he could be the future. I think this game was a great showing of that. We'll get into this one, but what were your thoughts seeing Benja get a start here? Not a cup game, right? Starting the cup game, but actually get a start with the first team.
I mean, I was all for it. We've been talking about how our midfield has underperformed, and I've been saying for years now, give the kids a chance. Let them get in there. Let them play. He's been playing relatively well down at Inter Miami too, getting a lot of minutes. We were in the middle of a 6-game losing streak. What do you have to lose at this point? Benja has proven that he can go into that role and be a formidable threat for Inter Miami too. Obviously, he's getting looks at from the U.S. men's team and the Argentinian men's team, so there's some talent there. And the players around him that are more seasoned and more senior obviously respect what he brings to the field and want to play with him. So instead of, and I know you're not going to like this, but instead of having Pizarro trying to do way too much and not bringing out anything in a game that is critical as this, it was great to see Benja get, walked out, put into the lineup with Leo, and obviously it paid dividends for us.
I agree, and I'm not upset that Benja got the start at the 10 because I've been saying it for so damn long. Pizarro's not a 10. Put him on the left wing. I'd rather have had Pizarro start over Stefanelli on the wing there. Just to backtrack, just very shortly, the Charleston Battery game next week, May 9th. That's a Tuesday at 7 o'clock. At Dry Pink Stadium, baby. Let's get it. That'll be a good time. Hopefully we can continue pushing to the next round. That's all I'm concerned about. So anyway, getting back to the Columbus game though. Go back to the starters, right? In terms of the back line. Yedlin, Kristoff, Kamal Miller, and Negri. And again, just Negri. So high on Negri. What a stud. Dixon Arroyo is continuing to play well, and I think the more Miller and Arroyo integrate with the team, the more they develop with each other. It could be a really beautiful thing. The game, ugly, stats-wise. Sneak out with a 2-1 win. End up going up, pretty damn early. I mean, I was going to joke that, we're scoring in the first 3 minutes, but it wasn't long. Campana was able to somehow slot the goalie after, I was confused on how that shot worked out almost, because it looked like the defender looked like everything kind of collided at the same time, but somehow gets it out, gets it past Schulte. What noticeable, Kermashi's header, man, that glancing header, that attack mind is what we've needed from a 10. I think other people that play that role are going to head it level or backwards, but no, he glances it over, and Campana just does the rest. I thought it was a great performance by Kermashi throughout the game. I was honestly surprised he wasn't on the MLS Team of the Week, even on the bench or something like that. But just to get that in your first like real start for the MLS, substantial. I wish he was a little faster. That's something that can be worked on. He's 18 years old, so like he's not even fully done developing from a physiological standpoint, right? He's still going to put on some weight and some speed and some muscle. So we'll develop, but this looks like what we've been looking for so damn long.
And it's easy to say that with only one game in. I'm not being negative, but like, let's be honest, that was a fantastic performance. It's hard not to get, if you're not already on board, it's hard not to get on board the Kermashi train here and, be a massive supporter for Benja. That header had me standing up off the couch. Like, I immediately shot off the couch because I was like, oh my God, that was a beautiful pass. Whether Leo finished it or not, like, that was an absolute peach of a pass. I don't know if you got to see the opposite angle, but that ball almost took just a little skip when it came off the ground, and that's how Leo was able to slot it between the defender and the goalkeeper. Like, it literally just took a little bounce there. And obviously led to a beautiful goal. I would agree with you. He needs to work on his pace, but we're in no way, shape, or form going to sit here and critique an 18-year-old who is still evolving into his game. Like, that's not fair for us to do.
But
one of those things,
in typical Inter Miami fashion, wasn't even 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, and as I already alluded to, that's when I thought the wheels were going to come off. I mean, if you haven't listened to our podcast before, you know that we can appreciate a beautiful goal against our own team. The beautiful passing display between the Columbus crew on that left-hand side of the pitch was justly rewarded by a Cucho thunder strike from his right foot all the way to the oppo corner of Drake Callender. Drake did a fantastic job of stretching out for that one. I'm not sure there's too many keepers in this league that would stop that shot. Absolutely beautiful. I
Nothing you can do.
As a fan of the game, I applauded it. I was like, that's wonderful. And that little movement right there displayed my concern before this match. Columbus midfield is one of the best passing midfield groups in the league. I think it's Aiden Morris has like a 92.5% passing accuracy before that game. That's ridiculous. Right now, I just checked stats. He's at 93%. And then you've got Moreira, who's at 88.8%. Zelli's at 81. Darlington Nagbe's at 91.8. They are ridiculous. Putting that in comparison, the best passer we have on our team is Jean Mota at 83.8.
Jesus.
Yes.
It's a deep level.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I was really concerned about. Obviously, we were able to button it up, but that displayed my concern right there. Unfortunately, Columbus wasn't able to continue to build off that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. 4 years, it's like can't even hold it together for 5 minutes after scoring. It's utterly frustrating. I was, holy shit, we scored first? What? And just bought in at the high. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Drawing, like, I was like, oh, man, like, they're going to continue this. They seem to be utterly dominant, which they were. But then I know we say a lot of negative things about this team's set pieces and specifically corners. But damn. It doesn't. There's got to be some correlation there between Campana being back fully healthy, or what seems to be pretty close to fully healthy. And, we're getting back to the ball we're used to with a big man up top and just doing what his beautiful sculpted body, lovely flowing hair, and amazing permanent 5 o'clock shadow does. Score goals. Scores the second one in the 41st minute. And I'm like, oh my God, just make it out of the half without conceding any more goals. And holy shit, they went the whole game without conceding another goal. Now, it was ugly. I mean, it was truly brutal. And I guess before we really go through the stats, several people on Team of the Week, including Leo Campana. But Phil Neville, Coach of the Week on the match day squad, and I'm not sure I agree with that. Everyone's saying, "Oh, this was a good strategy," but possession-wise, man, I mean, we were just crushed. It was 70-30%. Inter Miami with 30%. It was an onslaught, and we were just having to be defensively compact and sound because they pass all around. They move the ball very well around the box and just stopping attempt after attempt. 20 shots, right? And 8 of those on goal for Columbus. It was a great defensive effort. I don't know if that's like a Neville masterclass. Like, we held it together, but man, someone said the same people that are complaining about, 65% possession and 20 shots and no goals are the same ones upset with 25-30% possession in a win. And like, fair, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but like, I don't want to have to watch every game like this. This was stressful. It was really, can you withstand the onslaught? And they held it together. I think the defense is really improving. And I was looking at I was just, going over the standings as we like to do every now and then, just to see what our potential was in terms of climbing, right? And we didn't really climb too much, climbed 2 spots, right? From 14 to 12. But one of the most notable things that I saw is, goals against really, aren't horrible. It's not like the defense has played. I mean, they're having games where it's been pretty bad, but the defenses actually can play quite well together. And this was a pretty good showing. I think we really needed another solid center back after we lost Damian Lowe. And say what you want, maybe not solid, but I think Kamal Miller, real deal. We had to address the Gregory going down situation. I think Dixon has done a pretty bang up job. And honestly, we're tied for what was that, third least goals conceded in the East, which is really not horrible, all things conceded. But I don't want to do that every game. It's too stressful. I got too many bad sports teams in my life. I need some confidence. So can we turn that around? I sure hope so, man. What were your thoughts on? Was this all part of Phil's game plan, do you think? Just sit back completely defensively? Or was he hoping for something a lot better? Because I'm still not sold if he should have been on Team of the Week.
Nah, he just got lucky. I mean, I hate being like that. I know I said it last time, but I'm on the. We need to start looking train. We need to figure out what we're going to be doing going forward. One stat to me that stood out was the fact that we got out past 500 to 151.
Bro, I thought it was 180. Wait, did they change the stats on me? Hold on. No way.
Last I saw it was 500 to 151. How?
Wait, hold on. Okay, so there's varying stats here. I'm not going to lie. Because I saw 180 to like 500 something. I was like, how is this possible?
Because we were just trying to lob the ball to Leo. We went back to Leo ball, and we were just trying to get it up and add it to him. And it's one of those things that it worked this time, but it's not always gonna work. It's Phil got lucky, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to give him the credit he deserves or doesn't deserve, in my opinion, on this game because the players did their job. It's not like he went out there and made tactical changes that were mind blowing, right? Sure, he started Benja. Good on you. He started Leo, as you should. He had a back line, which he didn't really rotate. The midfield really wasn't rotated. It's, I don't know, it's more of a result down to probably the players responding to the win against Miami in the Open Cup rather than him being, Phil Neville masterclass, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it was after the game, and it was 180 after the game. They might have updated it. I don't know. Sometimes I get stats wrong, but I was like, damn, is that the most efficient ball we've ever played, right? 180 passes and 2 goals. That means we're averaging 1 goal for every 90 passes. Like it's just wild. It's a not a fun way to play the sport, and you can't put us through any more pain. But hey, like in terms of our possession, I thought that the attacks we could put together, it seemed like we were going more for a counter-attack approach, which was fine. For the first week, we've seen some sort of competency in terms of finishing, which is great. I think we just missed Leo for far too long. But, the counter-attack was working, the long balls were working, through balls on the outside were working, and ended up somehow pulling this one out against a team that I think most people thought we were going to lose to. And I will take it. It's stressful. I don't want to do this every week, though.
The only thing I wish we would have gotten out of this game was the Leo chip from midfield that he put just wide on the goal.
He tried.
He looked up, and I was like, oh, it's going to happen again. I was getting visions of Orlando in my head, getting ready to celebrate like a madman. And you could tell he wanted it. But that's really the only thing I would have liked to have seen out of the game besides, the result we got. And I will continue to say, as much as it was a different tune last year up to a point, thank God for Drake Callender, because he's arguably the only reason we have not had like a negative 40 goal differential, and we've been in the games we've been in to have a chance. So hopefully it is going to continue against a very formidable midfield threat here coming up against Atlanta.
So let's get to that, man. Let's get to that. Atlanta third in the East right now. 5 wins, 2 losses, 3 draws. 19 goals for, 16 goals against. So what does that tell you? In terms of defensive, or as far as like goals allowed, second most in the league behind Charlotte. Bless your heart, Charlotte. I feel for you. The defense isn't necessarily amazing. The attack is pretty good. Ahmad is definitely a monster. I mean, he's had a hell of a start to the season. But this is a team that, I think a lot of Atlanta fans were pretty nervous coming in, but probably pretty happy with the results where they are now. I mean, Ahmad has got 5. I'm going to butcher his name, but it's the Greek name. Giacomakis also has 5. Wiley 5. Luis Araujo 2. Assist-wise, Ahmad is 6. He's probably front runner for the MVP without even looking at it. Brooks Lennon, they got Derek Etienne now. Like it's a tough squad, man. At least it's a home game, which I think plays into our hands in terms of trying to turn this around. Because I can't say with confidence it's turned around, right? I just don't think you can with the way the results have gone.
The only thing I think we have in our favor is the fact that in the back of their mind, they might still be thinking about that loss to Memphis 901 in the U.S. Open Cup. They got downed 2-1. They scored in the 3rd minute, started off hot, and then they lost in the 90th +6 to a PK, and then they got dunked on in the 100th minute for the win. Memphis, listen to this stat. Memphis shot 30 times on Atlanta to Atlanta's 10. And Memphis had 10 shots on goal to Atlanta's 2. Now, it goes to note here that they did not trot out their strongest lineup. Even put in a familiar face in goal. Clement Diop was in goal for him that game. But still, they lost. So that's going to be in the back of their mind. And then they got trounced by Nashville 3-1 last week. Almada scored the penalty for him, but it was a Hani Mukhtar assist masterclass. I know you're still raging that he hasn't been called up for the German squad here, but he had himself a day. So it's one of those things that I feel like if we can get underneath Atlanta's skin early, they are going to struggle holding it together. Almada's only one guy. We know what Diop brings to the table in terms of goal, playing in goal. It's not great. No offense to him, but he's not a masterclass, goalkeeper. So, I mean, they have Lennon in the back line. They have Robinson, obviously Thiago Almada, Arujo. It's going to be one of those things. If we can nullify their stars, we should be relatively okay because their supporting cast is not great. I mean, the big thing is mark the ever-living daylights out of Almada.
Yeah, you have to be. I mean, it's going to be a good another good test for the defense, and I just hope that it's not so lopsided in terms of possession because it's not going to get easier after Atlanta. I mean, then it's against New England, and then it's against Nashville. And New England's number 1 in the East, Nashville number 4. So we're literally going through a 3-game MLS stretch right now of 3 teams in the top 4 with 1, 3, and 4.
Even add in, I mean, Orlando is going to be a tough one off the rip no matter what. So it's not going to get any easier.
And then Orlando, right? And then the rival game.
Until the 27th, where we have Montreal and a surprisingly terrible Red Bull squad on the 31st. And then Saturday, June 3rd, we play DC. So after that, it is an absolute gauntlet again with the Revs, the Union, Austin, Columbus, until we have another away game versus DC. So we say this every time around this year, I think. We need to secure the points where we can secure them because the gauntlet is going to kill us if we do not. Even if we just learn how to draw, fantastic. Take 1 from each game. It'll be, monumental towards rebuilding where we were at, 8 games ago. So
I agree.
Hopefully we're able to get after it.
And here's the thing. So Atlanta home game, New England home game. So we're getting 2 home games against 2 of the toughest teams in the East, which is good, right? We want them at our fortress. That's where I think we're obviously play our best. We didn't note, maybe you did and I didn't catch it, the Columbus away one was the first away one of the season, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we did not mention that, but yes. First away win.
So we get two of the best teams in the East at home. Now, here's the interesting part is we're sandwiching that Charleston Battery game in between those, also a home game. So we're going to get 3 home games in an 8-day stretch. You're going to get 3 games in an 8-day stretch. That's also going to be something Phil has to manage in terms of who's fit, who's not, who needs to recover longer. It's good to see him start playing some of the younger kids. They can recover really quick, but he's going to have some nice rotations to really make it through this. Atlanta coming into that pretty fresh. I think that will be probably the easier game to win, but the New England coming off 2 games and, not not a lot of time to recover. New England will be a tough game, but
so to build off of that, the big thing for us too is that we need to make sure, kind of building off what you said, we need to make sure that we utilize the month of May. We only leave the confines of Drive Pink twice. Once to Nashville, and then we get reunited with Bryson and Ari up in Montreal, Quebec. So we need to make sure we take advantage of that because June, we only have 3 games, but it's up in Foxborough, up in Chester, and then obviously home against DC. And then it doesn't get much better. So we have to regain the fortress that we had, and I'm using fortress lightly. At Drive Pink because we did play significantly better there last year. And off the rip we did play pretty well there, so hopefully we're able to find the right stride, pick up as many points as we can before all of a sudden we are staring down at Leagues Cup in July, which is just going to add more chaos to our schedule.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the first time we really get to experience that this year, so here we go. Here we go. All right, so let's before we get to some other news, prediction-wise, what do you think's going to happen with the Atlanta game?
Man, I don't want to go based off of the high of the past week. I'm gonna go 2-1. Thiago Almada breaks our heart at the death.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I don't want to get confident either, and I like being wrong in my predictions as long as we win. So, yeah, I'll go 2-1. I'm gonna go 2-1 loss because I think Atlanta be trending up in the right direction after the Memphis breakout. And hey, I'm saying that because I really hope I'm wrong here. I really hope I'm wrong, and I would much rather be wrong. But it's going to be a tough stretch.
I think it's gonna be one of those games that Phil gets tactically wrong because he wants to trot out Martinez against Atlanta, and I think we are going to
better play him on the wing, bro.
Yeah, we're going to try and do too much to give him that satisfactory. He scored 99th and 100 against Atlanta, and we're gonna just screw ourselves over. But hey, it is what it is. We can't control it, and we'll go from there. But looking at the schedule around, I know we don't always get to watch the other games. All right. I am looking forward to watching a couple of these if I was able to do so. St. Louis and Dallas is an 8:30 kickoff. That one's going to be fantastic. I mean, if you haven't had a chance to watch St. Louis, that is some fun footy. They are a blast to watch. 10:30 p.m. matchup is going to be a fantastic game. Portland versus Austin. Again, two great sides. Portland's a storied side in the league. Austin's one of the hottest up-and-coming teams besides this year. You can't go wrong watching that. It's going to be a drag-out, knockout war, I think, personally. But I don't know. What are you looking forward to this week, Jay?
Well, tonight I do want to check out a little bit of the LAFC Philadelphia CONCACAF Champions League game. I think that'll be a fun one with be able to watch that because it's tough for the MLS wraparound to really catch everything. And they drew it out 1-1, so title and aggregates, and whoever can win this thing goes home. In terms of MLS games, I'm probably starting to feel like a little bit of a closet Cincinnati fan because I keep wanting to watch Cincinnati games, but the Cincinnati-DC game I feel like will be a pretty good battle in the East. Benteke's playing very well. Shout out to that class bicycle kick there. That's really, I mean, the lineups, like you've already mentioned, St. Louis, Dallas will be pretty good. Nothing really like pops out outside the Austin-Portland game. I think Austin is much better than maybe what they've been putting on so far this season. So I know they're going to want to get out of the bottom portion of the table. And then Portland, I mean, they're all right around that area. So those would be the two games I'm watching in the MLS. But CONCACAF is probably going to be the more exciting one here. And then, like Philadelphia plays New York, worse in the East. I bet Philadelphia goes pretty heavy with the starters tonight to get past LAFC. And LAFC plays San Jose, who, I mean, to be fair, San Jose is having quite a resurgence of a season, so that's going to be the interesting one for them to balance. They obviously have a lot of good players and can rotate, but I think that'll be a pretty interesting see how they handle all that, and that's what I'd go with, buddy.
I'm actually really excited at the prospect of being able to see San Jose in a couple of weeks when I go out to the West Coast. San Jose against a team I've always wanted to see live in Portland. They like you said, they've had a resurgent season. Cade Cowell is coming into his own. They're finally, able to put the product that we think they should have had on the field, and to be able to put everything together. So it's only going to be better for the league if San Jose is able to do what they need to do. Now, looking at
got Jeremy Ebosi, who I think is finally starting to get the comfort level that he had with Portland, right? And stud player, 5 goals on the season. Espinosa was 6, so I think that'll be a pretty exciting game for you to attend.
Yeah, it should be, and it's going to be relatively cheap, so that's going to be awesome. Looking at league news, the biggest piece of breaking news to come, and I know we're a little bit late on this, but we want to touch base on it regardless. Talking about your closet fandom, as much as you ripped me on Philly, I'm going to start using that one against you. FC Cincinnati's Brenner completes club record transfer to Udinese, $10 million plus add-ons and additional sell-on percentages. He wanted out. It was a big deal. They didn't want to let him go. They finally had enough, and it seemed like it wasn't spiteful or venomous at any point, but it was definitely one of those things that you could tell the breakup was coming. And
he wanted it for a while, but then he started really doing well last season. So then it was like, well, is he really going to leave? They didn't want him to leave, but
yeah,
good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's going to be able to go and do his thing. He will stay with Cincinnati until the beginning of the July when the European transfer window opens. His final MLS match will be July 1st against the Revolution. And then he will officially become one of the top 10 most expensive outbound transfers in MLS history. So that's going to be detrimental to the league because Brenner, when he was on his A game, was fantastic to watch. But he also never became
what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, he never really came what he was supposed to be. It is interesting to note that he was worth more than Jordi going from Montreal to AZ Alkmaar last year. Jordi Mihailovic only went for $6 million, and Ishmael Kone went from Montreal to Watford for around $8 million. So
they bought they bought Brenner for a lot though. I want to say it was like $12 million or something. It was pretty substantial when they got him, but it'll be interesting to see how much it affects Cincinnati because they still have Brandon Vasquez, who is an absolute stud, and I look forward to seeing him, especially with the U.S. men's national team. They still have Lucha Acosta, so like they're still a very like just with those two, you're typically good. But I mean that three-headed monster was definitely something to see while it lasted.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's one of those things that, again, other leagues are starting to notice what we have. I mean, it's not a new thing. I mean, look at what the Aaronsons from Philly are always going to be one of the ones that you notate that went on and did big things. It's one of those things that, good on you. He's on his way out. He wants to be where he's at, and good for Cincy. They're getting some money out of him. All in all, when the sale is done, they actually lost out on $1.82 million. They bought him for 11.82, and they're selling him for 10.
Okay.
Now that's 10 plus add-ons, so they may recoup that. But
fair.
Yeah, it is what it is. Additional news.
Let me jump in here real quick because I feel bad because I didn't shout out the other one. There were 3 people from the club who made Team of the Week. It was Campana, it was Phil Neville, but it was also on the bench, Negri, and really, really high up on Franco Negri. So piggybacking off that, before you continue, sir, because I know you come so prepared, I also do want to shout out Benja because he was featured on Young Players of the Match Day, top feature guy, top of the list. I'm assuming that means number 1 pick right there. Obviously great showing and getting some much love from the MLS. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, talking about love from the MLS, multiple folks will not be loving the MLS this week. San Jose was fined for mass confrontation. What are your thoughts on fines for mass confrontation, Jay?
I don't know what did I miss that? What can you give me some details and I can give you a ruling.
So in the league, as we see in the Premier League and in La Liga, in League One, in whatever league you're watching, the players always crowd the ref when they're not getting their way.
Yeah.
The MLS has a mass confrontation policy that allows the coaches and the club to be fined for violations, as well as the individual players to be fined for violations that are deemed mass confrontational. I don't know if I personally believe that it should be a finable offense. Should they be carded? Sure. And maybe it'll help because like, some of these guys, they're balling in so much money. A little bit of fine is not going to hurt them too much. But to sit there and fine everybody, including the coach and the club, like I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Was it just a bad decision? Anyone put hands on a coach or put hands on a ref? Sorry,
no one touched anybody. It was just crowding.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty whack.
Yeah, of a mass, group.
Especially if it's like a justified, like if there was a bad call made, it's trash.
Correct. Yeah, no, like if it was a handball in the box, shout out DeAndre Edlin, who may have got away with one this past week. If it was a handball in the box and there was no call to it, I mean, yeah, sure. Okay. But just, I don't know. I agree with that one just as much as I agree with a fine for being guilty of failure to leave the field in a timely manner. Yeah, we don't want time wasting. Okay. But give him a yellow, give him a red, okay, cool. You're not leaving the field. Cool. Now I'm kicking you out. There you go. Boom, get out.
But here's the thing, like even when someone walks off slow, they get a yellow, they don't start sprinting. They're like, oh, well, I got a yellow. I'm just going to continue this slow walk then. Yeah,
no, absolutely. The only one I would agree with is the embellishment fine. The simulation and embellishment.
Yeah.
Like
get that out of the game. That's what holds the game back on the grand scheme of things in the United States is, you run, oh no, too much diving. They're little sissies or whatever. Like, yeah, we got to get that out of the game.
And since you opened Pandora's box on this one, I have noticed it a lot at the youth level too. So many times, like in Riley's games, like someone will the breeze will change and you would have thought they were shot and sent 50 yards flying and the officials looking down. I'm like, what is going on? Yeah. Like, what is happening?
I've seen youth practices where like, all right, and everyone do the Neymar, and they all get on the ground and start rolling and faking it, bro.
Riley's coach has called him Bruno the past couple of weeks. I take offense to that, but it's relatively true. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the league, it's not as bad as the NFL. The league just needs to maybe reevaluate what they're doing. They need to make sure that they're not going too far with it. In terms of Inter Miami news, while the first team had a fantastic showing against the Columbus Crew, Inter Miami 2 was cruising to a win. They were up 2-0. And between the 71st minute and the final whistle, they gave up 3 goals to lose 3-2. Not great. Not great. And, shout out to the team for putting that they narrowly fell. No, they got shellacked.
Who are they playing?
Columbus.
Okay.
They got shellacked in the final 15, 20 minutes of that match. It was, it was one of those things where it looked like the team was complacent with that stereotypical 2-0 lead. And if you watch sport long enough, as stereotypical as it is to say, that 2-0 lead is never safe. That is never safe. And they actually had a relatively decent lineup. Dos Santos in goal, Noah Allen, Abel Caputo, Ryan Saylor, Nicholas Sisak, who I'm pretty high on as left back, right back, whatever he's going to play. Joseph Converse, Jiglakava, Lawson Sunderland, who scored, Brian Destin, Darian Reyes, and Lucas Meeks. Not a shabby lineup for the youth. Quite a few players who've been called up, not only to the first team, but to the relative age group for the U.S. men's national team and other countries. Not a good look for Fetty. Just to let that game get out of control like it did.
Yeah, after coming back to win and then letting it happen to you.
Yeah, it was not. It wasn't even close. It was like Columbus was able to shift a completely different gear and put Miami to task. Honestly, so yeah, they bounce back. They also play Atlanta here this coming week, so hopefully they will be able to continue on. And that's really it for team news. We don't have a whole hell of a lot coming out of the Inter Miami camp.
Keep it rolling real quick. We got the power rankings, baby, up 5 to 23rd.
All right.
Starting the climb back, baby. And What's up?
I know we didn't talk about, and I know a very particular Discord member who is going to be very upset if we don't talk about this. Shout out David Ruiz, homegrown contract, and then him and Benja substituting in the game against Columbus was the first ever homegrown substitution in Inter Miami's history. Ruiz is a promising midfielder. He's Honduran American. He actually just got called up for the U20 World Cup for Honduras. It's going to be a good experience for him. Another promising midfielder. It's exciting to see again that we are again producing the talent that needs to help set our base up. So
and swaggy hair, and I can always get behind a dude with swaggy hair.
I wish I had swaggy hair.
Let's wrap it up with let's do some conference standings. Basically, kind of ran through the East already, but we'll go top to bottom here. In the number 1 spot, New England, followed by Cincinnati, Atlanta, Nashville, NYCFC, Columbus, DC, Orlando, Toronto, rounding out right above the playoff line. In 10th, we've got Philadelphia. Odd season for them, followed by Chicago, Boys, Inter Miami, Montreal, Charlotte, and last place, New York.
Yeah, no, it's actually pretty decent. Pretty decent power ranks. I like where we're at.
You're going back to the power. Sorry, I was reading off. I wasn't sure if you were trying to get my attention.
Yeah, no, that's my fault. That's my fault. Yeah. I mean, we're
where we should be.
Yeah, we're where we should be, and I'm surprised that we got what we got from the media.
5-point jump. Hey, we'll take that all day. Western Conference number 1, Seattle. Only behind 1 point, though, is St. Louis, followed by LAFC in 3, then Dallas, San Jose, Houston, Minnesota, Portland, Vancouver, rounding out the playoff spots. Outside of that, Salt Lake, Austin, Colorado, LA, and Kansas City, and that's where the MLS currently sits. Any other relevant news we got besides the big party that's going down on 5/20?
Yeah, 5/20. We have OnlyFans, the return of OnlyFans this week.
Oh, we have it. All right. Well, before we do that, I got to hype it up all I can, bro. FanFest 2023 is kicking off, joined by integrating with Gym Fest. If anyone, I don't know how many people know Jim, but it's gonna be a good time. Come out if you're debating coming to a game and you listen to this podcast. I'm there every time. I'm plain. I'm boring. I'm always there. Come see Than. Than makes time to come down here. Come see Than. It's 5/20, May 20th, 7:30. Gonna get his first taste of the poorly named Copa del Sol, Sunshine Classico, Sun Pacifico, whatever you want to call it, the Orlando rival game, baby. At Drive Pink, going to be a hell of a time for him, so come check it out. Also, that weekend, we are doing another round of the Inter Miami Podcast fan pickup game. So if you want to come play some footy, come on out. If you're good, you're going to do very well. If you're bad, come on out, because you're going to be like the rest of us washed up dudes anyway. And
Make
gals.
sure
Everyone's invited.
Yes, and make sure you reach out to us on social media. We will get you the link to sign up. We need to have an accurate head count because we are not psychotic. We are not playing outdoors, mainly at my request. We will be playing at an indoor field, so we need to make sure that we have enough spots and they are aware of how many folks we are bringing. And plus, to be honest, it'll be good to see who's all coming out. So come on out, see me. I promise you I will be coming in studs up at every opportunity. I will be banging in goals from half field, and I will be celebrating like I just won the World Cup. In all reality, I'm going to blow my knee out in the 3rd minute, and then I'm going to be in an air cast on the plane later that day. So, for real, I look forward to seeing everybody. It's going to be a great time. It's one of the times of the year, because I always usually come down around this time. It's one of the times of the year that I always circle on my calendar and that I always look forward to. And but are you ready to get into OnlyFans, Jay?
I'm ready. Let's get into it.
All right. First question. Given the benching of Pizarro and Joseph, are we having another Gonzalo Higuain situation where we have to bench the big players not performing? If so, will we ever get a resurgence from both of them?
Fair question. I feel like Martinez is different than Gonzalo. I feel like Gonzalo was maybe lack of effort or expectation. I feel like Martinez is a smaller dude, and we're still playing Campana ball. I don't know if we've been able to get him the proper service. So those ones would be different. I do expect at some point Josef Martinez is going to start dropping goals. That's what he does. I don't think there's a way he's not breaking 100 MLS goals. I think the rotation is proper to send a message to really bite down. Maybe you haven't been doing enough. You could do more. With Pizarro, again, I'm always good with him not being the 10. I'd rather him be playing on the left of the midfield or on the left wing instead of Stefanelli. Pizarro could do better. I think Pizarro gets a lot of hate, though, and I think he's had some very brilliant moments and some moments where he's just tried to do too much and it hasn't worked out. But there's been games where I think he's one of the more class midfielders we had. So do they take that message? I hope so. I hope they realize that, hey, they got to earn their place. It's not given. I also like that we're giving some of the younger kids a shot because, look, like maybe bench is what we've been missing. I mean, it's still probably way too early to say, yeah, for sure, he's the guy. He's going to be able to turn everything around, replace what Pozuelo was offering us. But I'm okay with it. Do we see resurgence? I think that we will at some point. I think that we will see some regression back towards the place we want to be. I think it's been a tough going for the club and all of those losses. I don't blame Martinez, and I don't blame Pizarro for that. I mean, we just played so poorly as a team. So I don't know if that's the answer you wanted, but it's how I feel.
I was pretty quick to post that I think this is going to be the resurgence of Martinez. I think we're going to see a reimagined story from last year where Leo's taking the spotlight, and let's be honest, Martinez has a little bit of a temper. Yeah. The table he flipped and all that at Atlanta, which kind of led to his being ostracized out of the club and the whole 9 yards. I think he's going to get a massive chip on his shoulder. It's not going to be like Gonzalo, where the game was passing him by and Gonzalo started to realize it and he had to reformat his game. Martinez just isn't figuring it out right now. And I don't think he's washed. I know I've seen a lot of people online saying he's washed, he's trashed, he's done. Is he underperforming? 175% yes. But hopefully Leo's reemergence will be able to coax him out of his shell and be able to get more. And let's be honest, if Leo's scoring, the opponents are going to be marking him tighter, which is going to leave more room for Josef to be able to maneuver into space. He's a little dude. You're going to lose him.
Yeah.
So,
but we only got a few games with both Leo and Gonzalo. I mean, Gonzalo really got his moment because Leo went down with an injury, and I really want to see Leo stay healthy for the whole season. So it also depends on, is Phil going to try and run two up top? Is he going to maybe let Josef play on the wing, or the crazy idea I said, two up top with Schneider and Campana with a tight Tam tucked in right behind him of Josef Martinez? I mean, he is fast and he's got the skills. It'll be fun to see. I agree with you. He's got that Latin blood in him, and he'll take that grudge and he'll use that as energy. So I'm all for it.
Yes, we could see. We will see. I like I said, I really think it's going to happen, but it is what it is. Benja's first start. Give it a rating. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
I gotta go like a 7.5. I'm feeling a nice 7.5. I think it could have been better, right? To be fair, but a hell of a job. I mean, I was very impressed. If he works on that speed, then I think he can really become a complete player as the rest of his game continues to develop. But he's got that attacking mindset that we've needed. Very short sample size, so maybe I eat my words here in the next game or 2 or 3. But I was pretty impressed. I'd give him a 7.5. I mean, I honestly was expecting maybe a little more love on Team of the Week. But, I mean, coming in there 18 years old, getting an assist, having some creativity in you, I'm all for it. What would you do?
With the assist, I give him an 8. So we're
Okay.
pretty well right there. Without the assist, I was more like a 6.
I could agree with that.
Pretty brutal. I'm going off of the FIFA Pro Club's ratings because we know how brutal those can be sometimes. It's one of those things that, again, I don't want to rehash what we've already gone over. His speed was lacking. His vision was there. His tenacity and his hunger for the game. He's 18 and he's playing his first MLS game. You can't deny that.
Yep.
Way too small of a sample size, and hopefully we're able to see more of it going forward. Last question, and we're going to the Premier League for this, sir.
God.
I know. Do you think the King Bottlers themselves are out of the Premier League title for good, or do you think Arsenal can come back and pip City in the next coming weeks?
I don't think there's a way they. I mean, mathematically, yes, but I don't think that there is really a solid chance of how they do that. And here's why I say that. Right, they're winning. They're ahead after they throw it on the neck of Chelsea. God, I just need a freaking good sports team to root for. It's been so brutal in the sports world for me. I'm about to just pick up a crochet hobby or something. 78 points. They're 2 above Man City. Here's the thing, though. Arsenal has played 34 games. Man City's only played 32, so they've got 2 games in hand. Man City doesn't lose a lot. Very rare. He draws very rare. They seem to win a lot. So, I mean, even being conservatively just 4 points from those 2 games, which is extremely conservative, I don't think there's really a way that Arsenal can finish out. Man City's got some very favorable opponents. Probably the hardest one they got is your United. I mean, they've got Brentford, Brighton, they've got Chelsea, which sucks. They've got Everton, they've got Leeds United and West Ham. These are very, very beatable opponents, whereas Arsenal has one of the tougher finishes I've seen. I mean, they had Chelsea, but they destroyed us. But moving to teams that are actually good this year, Newcastle, I think they might even struggle against Brighton. Brighton's been playing pretty well. And then they've got to wrap up against Man United. And I think he will take great joy in shutting Contra's annoying ass down in the Discord.
I am looking forward to that, and then I'm going to look forward to be able to give him the middle finger as I'm standing in front of both squads this summer because I'm so excited to go to this game. I am going to the United Arsenal game at MetLife Stadium. Cannot wait. Getting back to the task at hand, I agree with you.
That's a summer game. That's a summer game. I'm sorry. I saw that on the schedule. But yes, their schedule is more difficult than Man City, so I'm going Man City.
Correct. Man City, I think, I'm sorry, but I think they beat Leeds. Leeds is in shambles. I personally believe Madrid's going to knock them out of the Champions League because Pep always bottles Champions League with City. I should preface that with City. They play Everton. Everton's going down. Sad to see a historic club go down. I'm going to skip over Chelsea because I don't think you want to hear what I have to say. Brighton could give them a tough test. Brentford, depending on which team comes out for Brentford, could be a decent run for them. Everybody needs to root for us on June 3rd because we're going to possibly keep them from winning the treble. No one wants to hear about City winning the treble. And then, yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. City wins, but it could always be worse because you could be Richarlison ripping your shirt off and shushing the crowd and then conceding a goal less than 2 minutes later to lose a match. So.
Exactly. I think City wins by at least 7 points, honestly. I think that's probably pretty conservative difference in points between the two.
Well, when you've got the robot up front scoring like a madman.
Absolute robot, breaking records, just being the man.
This one's for me, and then we can shut it down because we're starting to turn into the EPL here. Do you think Haaland gets bored? He came into the league blasting goals away. Challenge relatively soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably honestly goes to Real Madrid. That's a heavy link right there. I think he would get bored. I would imagine he'll be here next year, but he might want to make, start considering moves after that. Maybe he goes the whole Cristiano Ronaldo route where you want to go play in the Power 5 leagues and see if you can win a title in each one. But I think so. And, you know, it'd be better off for all of us anyway, wouldn't it?
Yes. I personally believe, and it'll never happen, but if you want to challenge, send them to Wrexham. Holland to Wrexham. I'm here for it. First ever 100-goal campaign. I'm not talking like calendar year. I'm talking literal campaign. 100 goals for Holland at Wrexham. If he goes to Madrid, he could go down as one of the greatest Galacticos. I personally believe. The rate that he scores, some of the teams in Spain are lesser than the teams that he faces in England on a regular basis. And God, look out if he goes to France.
Yeah.
Absolutely look out if he goes and plays for like PSG. It's all on, because that is a farmers league. But yeah,
hey,
I think he's got a year max, if maybe 2. Well, don't forget, City is still in the midst of that financial battle for financial fair play and potential other infractions, so that could play a part in it. We will see, but that's pretty much it for our OnlyFans there, dude.
And, you know, in 2035, we'll see him here at Inter Miami.
He'll go to Orlando just to give us the middle finger.
Exactly. Well, I don't have anything else unless you do, buddy.
Absolutely not, sir. We've been rambling on for a while now. I think we should give the listeners a break.
Probably should. Well, if you don't check us out on social media, please do so on Instagram at Inter Miami Podcast, on Twitter at Inter MIA Podcast. Shout out to all the listeners, La Familia, whole community, the club, organization, everyone involved. We do it all for you. And without further ado, as we end every episode, Vamos, Miami.
Vamos, Miami.